of the month of May, and we have two topics that we'll be dealing with today's edition of the program. We'll look into government relief measures and the impact on the population. We also look into the issue of Africa and the cure for COVID-19. So far, Africa has had some positive results about the cure for the pandemic that has been affecting all parts of the world. Is this a way to say that Africa is finally at the top, or is it a very radical step? Should Africa fall back to the World Health Body or World Health Organization? The topic goes government relief measures. What impact on the population? That's the first topic of the day. And the second topic is Africans take the lead for COVID-19 cure. Is it a radical or a necessary step? And with me in the studio today, I have Professor Mark Anthony. You're welcome to today's edition of the program.
Thank you, Blanche, and also want to welcome all the panelists that are with me here and the 1,000 viewers out there viewing at us at this particular moment. It's a blessed Sunday.
Okay, we also have Mr. Tamfu Jones. You're welcome to today's edition of the show.
Thank you very much, Blanche. It's a pleasure. I will say welcome to other panelists, Jarvis, Professor Mark Anthony, and the millions of viewers who have been us out there in Cameroon and the world at large.
All right, Mr. Talmai Jarvis, you're welcome to today's edition.
Thank you for having me after a long time. I want to say good afternoon to all those viewing us out there, especially to the health workers and of course to the Minister of Health, and why not to the head of state, whom together we know they are doing their best to ensure that the economy of Cameroon gets up to its team. Why not equally say that during this moment we should equally ensure that the policies put in place should be there to protect the individuals, because when you die you cannot be reversed, but when an economy goes down, the economy can be actually reverse itself again.
Okay, and happy World Press Freedom Day to all journalists all over the world. 13 March 2020, the government of Cameroon adopted 13 measures to fight against COVID-19 in the country. On the 9th of April 2020, the government adopted 7 more measures to intensify the fight against the virus in the country. And recently, on April 30, that was on Thursday, the Prime Minister, head of government, announced during a meeting, or the interministerial meeting, that the government had eased 19 measures to fight against the economic, or to minimize the economic impact of the virus in the country. And today we'll be talking about this relief or accompanying or support measures given by the government and what impact it has on the population, or on the Cameroonian population. And I begin with you, Professor Mark Anthony. This comes at a time when recent screening shows that a number of positive cases are on the rise. What do you think about the government's decision to weaken the 19 measures to minimize economic impact?
Blanche, the reason why I'm actually smiling is not because of a positive step that the government has taken.
Okay.
I'm smiling because I feel disappointed. My reason for saying I'm actually disappointed is because you can't actually, as a government, or say, let's use the word, this regime in place, be fighting a deadly virus by exposing the people towards the same virus. 19 measures, or say 20 measures, were taken to fight against this, and one of those particular measures, 19 measures, or say 20 measures, were taken to fight against this, and one of those particular measures was to close down bars by 6 o'clock and to limit. Now we talk of social distancing.
Yeah.
And in social distancing, it is clear at least a meter or 2 from each other. And at the same time, because of the crumbling nature, the bankruptcy that the nation of Cameroon, the economy of Cameroon is facing, the government does not want to rise up one day and just declare to you it is impossible to run the nation again. So rather than choose to protect the lives of the people, they decide to expose them by removing that particular social distancing measure and telling bosses all the transporters. You can carry as your normal number of persons you were carrying. For example, a 70-seater bus has the right to carry 70 seaters, 70 persons, which implies that the individuals could sit as closest as. Is there any distance again? Because they are touching each other. And a taxi man who used to carry 2 persons due to the former measures that were given is now supposed to carry 3 behind and 1 in front. The 3 will still let's say be closer to each other. It doesn't end there. Bars most of times actually enter but during the evenings. Snacks and nightclubs, they I don't know if they can actually control
the first point of the 19 measures made it clear that they had to maintain, barrier measures, like social distance and the wearing of face masks.
I read that, but that does not cover the problem, because they will not be in the nightclubs to control those people. We have face masks, we do not refuse that. They will not be in the nightclubs to control how people are dancing. Nightclubs are meant for dancing. If you tell people to go there, what else are you trying to say? You want them to stay closer. And so it means that they don't respect even the World Health Organization's proposal for social distancing. And secondly, since this disease or virus actually spread through more closeness, it means that the main target of the government is to kill many Cameroonians, because many will be infected during this period. I was surprised that happened, because the number keep rising. And if the number keep rising,
there are 2,000 plus now.
2,000 plus. Then instead of closing everything down, they are instead saying, okay, open up, feel free. It means they are ready to kill more.
Mr. Jones, you're itchy. You want to say something. What do you think about the recent 19 measures?
It's a disappointment. I think the government has taken the Cameroonian people to the guillotine, where taking them to a point of suicide. Because it's unfortunate that when we had about less than 100 cases, the schools were shut down. Businesses were shut down, especially the bar drinking spots were shut down, and now that we are over 2,000, they will reopen the businesses, and the school is set to be reopened.
Bars were never shut down. It was from 6 to 6. People could use.
Yet we were criticizing the fact that bars were only shut from 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Does the virus have rendezvous or an appointment with people at 6 p.m.? No. It means that if the government was of good faith, the bars would have been shut down from the morning till evening and not operational. Now, you see hypocrisy. Bars are shut down, but brasseries keep working. Who is fooling who? When the bars are even shut down during the day, people lock from 6 p.m. We have seen cases where people lock themselves into the bars, and they are drinking themselves to stupor. Now, that's the responsibility of the population. I am going down gradually.
Okay.
Now, the government comes out now and says that people can will put on face masks. I begin to imagine how you put on this thing, Blanche. And you want to drink beer. What happens? Either you put it like this, or you take it all over your nose, and then you sip your beer, you cover it back. No, does that mean that the period by which you will take over your bottle, the virus is normal? What they are discussing, as in bars, there's music, and for your neighbor to hear what you are saying, you must increase the volume. And when you increase the volume of your voice, you increase your tone, saliva pours out. And when saliva pours out, that is how the virus gets from one bottle to another, from one cup to another. Secondly, what I was expecting to see on the list of things that have been added to the measures was that fuel prices have been reduced.
We're getting
Unfortunately, I didn't see it. If we are the world is a small village, and fuel prices, a barrel of petroleum products has now gone down to $20, and around the world, people have reduced
prices in their country so that their countrymen can benefit. Does it mean that in our own country, Cameroon, the government dislike the people to the point of which they will not want us to benefit from commodities? Look,
I will get back to you. We're just beginning the program. We still have a lot of time on our hands. Let's let Tamai Javis give us his own point. What do you think about the government's decision about the 19,
Well, Blanche, I want to say that it's kind of difficult one to actually say you want to strike a balance when it comes to looking at these measures, because whether you like it or not, we must say that the lives of humans are more important than the economy. We understand that if an economy, or if the economy goes down into recession, it can definitely come back into a booming state. But if a life is lost, and you cannot reverse, an economy in chemistry is what we call a physical change, which can be easily reversible. But a life in chemistry is what we call a chemical change, which cannot be easily reversible, meaning that when somebody dies, you cannot bring back that person. Looking at the measures that the government recently put in place, I think that the government was more concerned at the level of the economy, and was looking at the economic gain, and equally the government too was looking at other big nations like America and Italy that have actually started resuming or reopening parts of their economy. It is not a bad thing to copy and paste, but before you copy and paste, you must know your socio-economic realities. You must evaluate your realities. Remember that, Blanche, there's an aspect here that the government was supposed to take into consideration. The first thing is you call the College of Doctors and Researchers and ask them which period is more favorable for this virus to be transmitted. You look at Europe, they have 4 seasons, and the only season that they have, which is actually warmer, is only one. They have 3 of those seasons are almost like the same. Just the difference is that snow doesn't fall at a particular time. And you look at the death rate was more when they were during the period of, I think it's spring, it's autumn or something like that, where you see the coldness. So it means that the virus can easily be transmitted in a cold temperature. We are moving now in a rainy season period in Cameroon. Now, this period could be a favorable period for the transmission of this virus as compared to the hotness that we used to have during the dry season. We are now moving to a semi-rainy season. Now, these are factors that if you meet researchers, they'll tell you, hey, this is what is happening, this is what is happening. Ghana reopened. I'm sure that Cameroon is equally copying from Ghana, but before they did that, they had a college of scientists that sat and said, okay, this is it, this is the reality. These are the number of cases that we have. When you say we should reopen and bars should move to their normal fare, nightclubs should move to their normal operation, it raises a question as to the safety of the government worker itself, because this is it, Blanche. On the 1st of May, Labor Day, I went round Douala and I saw people drinking and celebrating, seemingly without face masks, dancing without face masks. The issue now that comes is, you and I who are taking precaution, moving with our sanitizers, moving our face masks, how can we be sure of our safety for those who go out and interact with people? You should know that the moment the Prime Minister issued the restriction at the behest of the head of state, people reduce the face mask wearing. And even police officers don't longer enforce the effective face mask wearing. I asked a question, does it mean that the Prime Minister actually asked for a suspension of face masks? No, he did not. So I think this is a logic here that I asked Prof, I think prior to this program, that if you say 70 seaters should carry their normal population, and what becomes of churches? Is it that the mathematics that those government officials study is too complicated that we of the ordinary cannot understand this simple mathematics? Because I was one of the persons that advocated for general face masks, compulsory face masks on my Facebook page before the government could even institute that. And there's an issue here, Blanche. We cannot negate the fact that the lives of humans are more important than the economy. Yes, I share the pain of the government that the economy is wallowing down. One of the measures I was expecting that the government would say, okay, this institutions like the private higher education institution and the secondary institutions who are eventually shut down, maybe we can give them a small stipend, like let's say 10 million to all of these institutions, to at least give 30% salaries to their workers who are already on standby, such that they can keep the momentum, while hoping that when the economy, when things resume, these workers can actually move. Workers have been laid off. Workers keep being laid off. The government focuses on the government teachers. The government teachers receive their full salaries. The government workers receive their full salaries. I'm begging the head of state and those watching us to understand that those of the private sector, schools actually need this small subvention. No matter how small the money may be, it will help to save the job of a non-teaching staff and equally a teaching staff in this private institution, so that we can together move on. Either we sink together
or we move together.
We flow together.
Okay, so I will welcome those just joining the program. It is House of Commons, and you're welcome to today's edition. Let's go for this report so that those watching us will know what we're talking about. We're talking about the recent outing of the Prime Minister of the country, Prime Minister Joseph Diangute, who on Thursday, the 30th of April, gave or eased up 19 measures, some measures initially adopted by the government. Let's have this report. When we come back, we'll continue with the program. Minister Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph Diangute, has announced 19 relief measures to reduce the economic impact of COVID-19 pandemic in Cameroon. The Prime Minister was speaking yesterday during the interministerial evaluation meeting on the implementation of government measures. Bars, restaurants and leisure facilities can now operate after 6 p.m. Consumers must respect barrier measures and the wearing of protective face masks.
1. The opening after 6 p.m. of bars, restaurants, and leisure facilities, with the obligation for customers and users to respect barrier measures, in particular, the wearing of protective masks and social distancing. 2. The lifting of the measure reducing the mandatory number of passengers in all public transport by bus and taxi. The wearing of masks remains compulsory and overloading is prohibited. 3. The suspension for the second quarter of 2020 of general accounting audits, except in cases of suspected tax evasion.
According to the Prime Minister, the support measures are to relieve the sectors most affected by the health crisis, following encouraging results observed in the implementation of COVID-19 strategy in Cameroon. The measures that will benefit trade unions. Excellency President Paul Biya.
The head of state instructed the government to conduct a study to assess the impact of COVID-19 on the national economy and to determine the accompanying measures to be implemented to support sectors in difficulty, as well as households that are most in need. To implement this instruction, the study was carried out following a participatory approach in conjunction with the private sector and technical and financial partners. In addition, weekly meetings to evaluate the implementation of COVID-19 response strategy have revealed that the actions taken by the government to contain this pandemic are beginning to bear fruit.
One of the measures adopted on March 17 as part of the response strategy to fight against COVID-19 prohibited the operation of bars, restaurants and entertainment sports after 6 p.m. The recent evaluation meeting held yesterday has uplifted this ban, and on command of the head of state, the measures taken on March 17, 2020 have been extended for 15 days, subject to change or renewal if necessary.
The President of the Republic has decided to extend the measures taken on 17th March 2020 as part of the COVID-19 pandemic response strategy for an additional 15-day period.
You're welcome back to the program. Alex Ngepi, you're welcome to today's edition of the show.
Merci. Je dis aussi bonjour à vos professeurs, à vos panélistes et aux millions de personnes qui nous suivent et qui focus ce dimanche sur Pranti.
Okay, before you joined us, we were talking about the 19 measures unveiled by the government, or adopted and unveiled on Thursday by the government of Cameroon. Do you think that this will enhance the fight, or this will intensify, this will strengthen the fight against COVID-19 in the country, or this is taking us down the lane, like?
Donc, écoutez, les mesures que le gouvernement a prises,
Oui.
d'abord, elles sont à saluer. Hein, il faut reconnaître que ces mesures sont bien moins bonnes parce qu'il y a quand même un accompagnement. Il y a un accompagnement, déjà, comme au départ, ils avaient demandé de ressortir les mesures barrières. Il y avait eu un accompagnement, puisqu'on avait à l'époque demandé aux forces de sécurité, d'accompagner les populations à porter les masques et consorts. Elles sont déjà bonnes parce que pour une fois, le gouvernement a mis sur pied des mesures d'accompagnement par rapport à ces mesures que le Premier ministre a annoncées tout récemment. Maintenant, la question est, quand c'est accompagnement, certes, mais est-ce que l'accompagnement doit être juste pour accompagner? C'est ça un peu qui dérange en fait. Donc, on vous dirait qu'il y a accompagnement, c'est une bonne chose, mais il est aussi important de s'interroger sur les limites de cet accompagnement-là. Nous ne pensons pas que le gouvernement, merci, nous ne pensons pas que le gouvernement a fait grand-chose en parlant de la suppression de la TVA. Parce que, la TVA, c'est une taxe sur la valeur ajoutée, donc, gros, ça concerne les plus riches. Et normalement, ce qu'on dit pour les gens, c'est que la TVA normalement, est supportée par le consommateur. Et quand on dit qu'on rembourse la TVA, on se pose la question de qui se moque-t-on, hein, parce que quand vous allez par exemple sur le code de procédure fiscale, vous vous rendez compte que le gouvernement a parlé d'un montant de sur 3 mois. Or, quand vous avez bien ce code, c'est pas ça. Donc, on ne va pas trop faire le débat technique sur la TVA, mais nous disons que c'est l'argent des entreprises qu'on a fait que le restituer. Donc, le gouvernement n'a pas accompagné l'entreprise. TVA. Maintenant, l'une des mesures qui nous dérange réellement, hormis l'aspect TVA économique et consort qu'il a cité, la pas des vaccinats, c'est pas mauvais. Sur les places de stationnement, déjà, au moins, ça va aider les couches les plus défavorisées, ça va aider les taximans, ça va aider les vaccinats. Ça, par contre, il faut saluer, mais même si on va dire qu'il pourrait mieux faire. Mais ce qui nous dérange, c'est la création du faux sentiment de sécurité. C'est-à-dire que c'est la mesure concernant les praticoles, particulièrement les entreprises qui font dans les snack bars, communément les boîtes de nuit. C'est ça qui est dérangeant dans cette mesure-là. Parce que cette mesure vient faire croire aux Camerounais que le Covid-19 est terminé.
Yeah.
Il vient faire croire aux Camerounais. Actuellement, les gens ne portent plus le masque. Les gens ne respectent plus la distanciation. Les gens sont libres. Donc, actuellement, les Camerounais ont relâché. Or, le gouvernement sur cette mesure, quand le Cameroun est à plus de 1800 cas. Donc, il faut rappeler que le test massif qui était annoncé par l'État du Cameroun n'a pas encore eu lieu. Pour dire exactement raison, puisque c'est pas officiel, il n'y a pas une théorie scientifique qui dit que ça marche. Est-ce que c'est la raison pour laquelle le gouvernement va baisser les bras, va créer un fonds de sécurité? Nous disons non. Donc nous pensons que on a eu la fête du 1er mai. On a dit on va pas au 1er mai et le 20 mai parce qu'on veut respecter la distanciation. Mais cependant, on dit ouvrez les bars. Est-ce que les snacks et les bars, on peut respecter la distanciation? Vous avez des images des Camerounais qui circulent, les Camerounais qui sont en train de festoyer dans les bars. Ils se touchent, ils se collent. Et la plupart n'ont pas de masque. Voilà. Et nous sommes conscients que la climatisation est un facteur qui permet de projeter les postillons du Covid-19. Et ça, beaucoup de personnes semblent ignorer. Donc, ce faux sentiment de sécurité-là, nous comprenons que les brassicoles, c'est un très fort lobby qui fait pression sur le gouvernement. Nous comprenons aussi que beaucoup de personnes du gouvernement sont actionnées dans les entreprises brassicoles. Nous sommes conscients de cela. Nous sommes conscients que les brassicoles contribuent à plus de 500 milliards de francs CFA. En termes de taxes et taxes complémentaires, c'est-à-dire que et taxes directes et indirectes à plus de 500 milliards de francs CFA. Nous sommes conscients, mais est-ce que la vie d'un Camerounais vaut 500 milliards? Je ne pense pas. Okay. Donc, il aurait été important que le gouvernement, que lui demander qu'on ouvre les snack bars il aurait été pour nous important que le gouvernement garde les mesures et paye les factures d'eau et d'électricité de ces Camerounais et que le gouvernement paye même le salaire des Camerounais qui les payent et qu'on continue à suivre le confinement. Donc, nous sommes un peu désolés de ce... Et il faudrait qu'on dise que par cette mesure-là, les morts qui vont survenir, et si jamais les chiffres continuent à croître, et il faut aussi que le gouvernement publie les véritables chiffres. Si elles continuent à croître, nous allons carrément endosser ça à la responsabilité gouvernementale.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Alex. Your opinion counts. It is your opinion. I would not take it away from you. And over to you, Prof. The government, according to the measures announced on the 30th of April, family allowance has risen from 2,800 francs to 4,500 francs. Where is the place of a local man who benefits from this and who doesn't? I'm thinking about all those in the quarters who make their money from, their farm produce and things like that. Do they really, can they sustain, can they survive in within these measures in times like this?
It is a nice thing that the family allowance for those that are civil servants has been uplifted. It has been increased.
Yeah.
It is very nice. But what is funny about it is that about 60% of the population of Cameroon are not civil servants.
Yeah.
And most of them are living from hand to mouth. And if they go to the state of increasing the family allowance of those who are working, what about those who are struggling to keep the economy strong and actually not depending on the salaries that the government pays to its workers? That's a question that we need to hit on. The government of Cameroon operates as if it is in a vacuum. It doesn't operate as if it is dealing with humans. The reason why I earlier said here that I really feel bad and I'm saddened with these new measures, like Ngepi said a couple of minutes ago, yeah, the idea of actually
accompanying or giving support.
They're talking of the TVA, help it, all those businesses actually is good.
Yeah.
But you see, I will still come to one point. This government is focused on the economy and neglecting the lives of individuals. The focus this particular period of time is not how the economy is rising or falling. At this hour, every economy is going to fall.
The economy has to be, somehow strong to be able to manage.
Every economy in the world at this hour is supposed to collapse. Jack Ma said something the other day that in a time like this, you don't think on how much profit you are making. You should be thinking on how to sustain your life, how to stay alive.
Yeah.
A person who does not see into it, that, let me say the government that does not see into it, that it protects the lives of its citizens and sustains them, keeps them alive in a time like this, and is rather looking into sustaining the economies of the nation, is wicked. I'll put it that way. Because on normal basis, if that economy collapses and the people are alive, they will fight to build it up again. But what happens if these people actually die? Which economy will we be talking about when the people are dead? So asking me that question, whether what about the local man? The government of Cameroon doesn't care about their well-being. They don't care how they live. They don't care what happens with them. You see, I'm saying this because Cameroon is a nation where instead of struggling to see how we support those who are in the villages, because I was looking up to say that maybe the government was supposed at this particular period of time to maybe say, okay, so now you are not going to
receive bills,
save bills to these people again. We are going to pay. Come to Kamwata, the government is going to pay the bills, and you will not give bills to these people again. But you know what? That has not changed. Let's keep that aside. These people, most of them are not working, but they are supposed to protect their lives at this particular period of time. For example, those who had nightclubs it's not supposed to be a place where people should gather in at this particular period of time. Why? Because the spread of COVID multiplies in such places. But if the government deems it necessary to open nightclubs, it means that to them, they don't care if the people attend those nightclubs come there and get infected. They care on what those nightclubs can give the economy. That's what they're interested in. And as a result of that, it proves to us that the government of this nation doesn't have the people in heart. The interests of the government do not lie on the citizens of Cameroon. So I believe that it is necessary for the government to actually ameliorate the measures that they brought up, because there are some of them that are actually destructive. They are not constructive, and neither are they for the people. They are completely against the people. We can't, at a particular period of time when people are struggling to keep their lives, to stay alive, and we give them an opportunity to die. Because to me, telling people, okay, transport agencies, you can carry as many as you can, nightclubs can move on, and then those women in the market who have been struggling to sell, they see. The question is, when you allow them to still go and gather in the market, because I said this one time here on this particular platform, I said telling them to go and gather in the market is actually exposing them the more. At this particular period, I want to say something. If you count the number of the infected persons, it is more than 2,000 already. When we had about, let's say, 200, we brought in measures. I'm talking of 203. We brought in measures to distance them. We closed down schools. Then, when we are over 2,000, we are talking of reopening schools, we are talking of reopening bars, we are talking of reopening and struggling to boost the economy. That is the most destructive thing I've ever heard. That is the most destructive thing. So I believe that the government of Cameroon doesn't care about those people you just asked me about. The common man out there who is struggling to live, they don't care how they live. They don't care what happens to them. If they die, it's not their problem. As long as they can get what can enter their pockets, because the purpose of this boosting of economy is not to even help the economy of Cameroon, it's to help some individuals who are sitting there feeling the money.
Okay, Prof, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your point. And to you, Mr. Tamfujo, don't you think this is an eye-opener for Cameroonians to be extremely responsible? You know, the government has said, okay, go on with your businesses, do this. But don't you think that it's time for all Cameroonians to know that I have to do this to keep myself safe? Does the government always have to work behind them, give curfews, pass laws to make Cameroonians take their health, seriously and stay back to fight against COVID?
In as much as we blame the government, we also inform the population that the fact that the government have put these measures in place to make life a bit comfortable to people doesn't mean we should be irresponsible. Where social distancing remains. Stands. Constant washing of hands and sanitizing hands stands. Avoiding public gatherings stands. Constant putting on of face masks still stand. Avoid those bars that they have said you should go and drink, because life doesn't have a duplicate, and coronavirus is real. Now, I was talking about fuel price.
Okay.
When we talk about the common man, because when we talk about the government reducing, increasing family allowance is for people who work in the private sector, especially in the public sector and the private sector. That's civil servants and the private workers, because the social insurance funds also give public allowance. Family allowance. How many people are working there? The majority of those of Cameroonians are those that are fit from hand to mouth. Those who are unable to have 3 square meals a day, where will they go to? Now, if companies have laid off workers, I'm one of the workers who have been laid off. If companies have laid off workers to reduce expenses because of the economy that is going down, people are going to their houses. Some are being paid 30% of their salaries. Some are being paid 50%. Some are being paid nothing. Now, how will these people manage their lives? One measure that the government put in place. And I was talking about fuel because fuel plays a vital role in every economy. By the time you reduce fuel prices from 600 francs to 200 francs, it goes a long way to reduce taxi fare from 250 francs to 100 francs. And it goes a long way to reduce the transportation of 20 liters of a gallon of palm oil from Mesingong to Bamenda from 500 francs to 100 francs. And it makes a liter of oil, instead to be sold for 600 francs, to now be sold for 300 francs. And it will enable that people stay in their housing in confinement and eat food that the government still has to provide. Why? When they talk of the government taking money, people are contributing. We have Mr. Biya gave 2 billion. Yeah. It's good. The government gave 1 billion. It is good as 3 billion. The 2 billion was used to say buy hand sanitizer, buckets and masks. Do we need it? People can take their wife's wrapper. Yes. Because is it not the same wrapper that they're sewing the mask with and cover their noses? He sensitizes people to wash their hands constantly. Before now, didn't they have savon? They have savon and they've been washing their hands. What they need is food.
Okay.
Food is what is pushing the Cameroonians out of their houses because they have to work before they chop. If they don't want, they will not chop.
Okay.
So food is sending them to the streets. So if you think that giving them masks will make them stay at home, or giving them buckets and hand sanitizer will make them stay at home, we are attacking the enemy from the wrong angle. Now, when I say everything is centered on fuel, if fuel prices is refused, but what baffles me is that none has been a time that these prices of fuel have been increased and it goes down. Are they afraid to make it drop? They should reduce the fuel prices. Now, secondly, the government has said that people should go out there and drink in bars, enjoy themselves, because that's what they have said.
Yeah. They have just. Why don't you see it from the way that they've given opportunities to these business people to go out
by killing themselves? That is suicide. It's mission. It's suicide mission. They're not only killing themselves. When they die, where would the business go to? Because we remember a story of what happened in a city in France, where a ship came with contaminated human beings and was asked to be confined, and a certain authority gave authorization that no, the people should, because there were goods in the ship, that they should remove the goods so that it would boost the economy. At the end of the day, people ended up dying in their normal.
So you don't even see the possibility.
There is no possibility in what
the measure says, that you respect barrier measures, and then don't you think that it is possible that a limited number of people get into a snack or a bar and then use the space for whatever?
That detail was not put in the measures.
But now was there that respect barrier measures, respect social distancing?
A black man is a man who needs whip to walk. Look,
if you understand respect social distancing, then the bar owner should know that it is okay at the level where the population starts getting more.
Look at Blanche. Look at Blanche. People need money, and people are thirsty. Okay. Cameroonians live on beer.
But you can buy and take home.
You can buy and take home, but they will tell that beer is not sweet at home. Blanche, you cannot tell me to eat food and you tell me to cover my mouth.
Okay, you can't tell somebody to go to the nightclub and dance.
And not dance.
And dance in his house.
Look, you cannot tell me that I should eat food and tell me to cover my mouth.
Okay.
It's the same thing that you put in the barrier, putting the face mask and drinking. It's uncalled for. So if the government is serious, the money I was talking about, the money people contribute.
Okay.
This support that people are supporting, that the NGOs and other organizations around the world are supporting the government of the world to see into. America is paying people to stay at home. They're giving people money. People only go out to buy food and come back.
Their economy is okay.
They're supplying food to their doors. Their economy is okay. Yeah. They're not better than us. It's just because one man will sit in his office and steal billions and others are watching.
It's okay. It's okay.
Now let me learn.
Okay.
When they destroy the economy, they blame it on who? Me? Okay. Do you know that as we are suffering and the country is suffering from where has the money that they have been collecting from the Sparrow Hall gone to? Where has it gone to? We have never had account of it. This government has money. They themselves, I saw in a country where the minister, the president gave 6 months of his salary
to support the fight against this disease. Those money that are collected, instead of buying face masks, they will see into it that, because when this thing started, I suggested in the platform that the government should lock down Douala and Yaoundé. It will be easy for the government to sustain these 2 towns. If these 2 billion was being distributed, they bought food to distribute to the population of Douala and Yaoundé, it would be enough for them to eat and stay at home for 2 weeks or 1 month. Meanwhile, they look into how to contain the cases that were already available. Now they have made the thing to spread more and more, and it's very difficult to contain.
All right, Mr. Jones, thank you very much. I think you should calm down a little. Mr. Alex, do you think that these 19 measures, you pointed out specifically the first one, the upliftment of the ban, imposed on snacks and restaurants and public places, leisure facilities. You specifically pointed that out, that is what Cameroonians have still not been able to understand. Do you think that there is a proper way the government would have handled that? The government is trying to boost back the economy, trying to minimize economic loss. Do you think there was a better way the government could have done that without exposing the population to the risk of contaminating the COVID-19?
Oui, c'est vrai que le gouvernement veut bien relancer l'économie. On se dit le Covid-19 est venu et a donné de nouvelles règles de jeu. Est-ce que tout le monde a peur d'une crise économique, d'une escatombe économique, si on emploie l'expression, c'est-à-dire d'une crise économique majeure, un peu comme la crise qui a eu lieu en Allemagne dans les années 1920-21, un peu comme la crise mondiale au niveau des États-Unis et de l'Europe qui a eu lieu dans les années 33-30, un peu comme aussi la grande crise de 1973-74 avec la chute pétrolière et la grande crise de 1981, et pas plus tard récemment que les crises qu'on a connues dès l'année 2008 et quelques années par là. Donc il y a cette peur là, que tous les États ont peur, et chacun, on a vu par exemple les États de l'Union européenne, la France, commencer à demander que les gens sortent du confinement et veulent relancer l'économie. On a vu la Chine tant que mais on a aussi vu un État, je crois qu'il y a un État qui a demandé de sortir pour le confinement, c'était je crois l'Espagne, quelque chose comme ça, et qui après a déjà retourné encore à l'intérieur. Vous voyez, c'est bien beau de vouloir faire croire aux gens qu'il faille relancer l'économie, mais il y a 4 principales choses qui, d'après Adam Smith, qui est 1976, qui dit stratégie économique des marchés. Adam Smith, c'est un peu le père du libéralisme économique. Il y a 4 principales choses qui permettent de relancer une économie, d'après sa théorie. C'est-à-dire, il faut la dépense budgétaire. La dépense budgétaire, c'est ce que le gouvernement essaie de faire. C'est-à-dire, le gouvernement essaie de mettre 25 milliards sur la TVA. La dépense budgétaire, aussi les planches à billets qu'on sort dans sa dépense budgétaire. Il faut la production. Donc dans la production, le gouvernement demande en termes de... C'est un peu ça que le gouvernement est allé dans ce sens-là. Dans la production, le gouvernement demande aux gens d'ouvrir les bars, et ils espèrent donc que Brascol va continuer à mieux produire. C'est le facteur de production. Il faut la consommation. Donc effectivement, quand on demande aux gens d'ouvrir, parce qu'on s'est rendu compte qu'en journée, les gens consomment peu. Mais en soirée, les gens consomment plus. Et que là où les gens consomment le plus, dans les snacks, bars et les boîtes de nuit. Là, on ne peut pas rester chez soi, comme on l'a dit, et consommer une bière, avoir la même saveur quand on est dans un bar. Nous sommes humains, parce que la jouissance individuelle, l'homme veut jouir, ça fait partie des plaisirs personnels. On ne peut pas empêcher tout être humain aimerait satisfaire le besoin de manger, le besoin sexuel et la nourriture intellectuelle, qui sont les connaissances. Ce sont les 3 éléments fondamentaux pour un être humain. Donc la jouissance individuelle ne s'acquiert que lorsqu'on est dans cet environnement. Ça dépend des êtres humains, mais c'est comme ça. Donc le gouvernement est conscient de ça. Donc quand il active la consommation, en demandant donc qu'on aille dans les bars, c'est toujours la théorie d'Adam Smith. Quand le gouvernement est dans l'exportation, qu'est-ce qu'ils ont fait? Ils n'ont pas appliqué la théorie, parce que pour l'instant, les Français sont toujours fermés, à ce que je sache. Donc vous comprenez que sur cette théorie d'Adam Smith, ils sont en train d'appliquer, ils ont laissé la dernière chose qui est l'exportation. Vous comprenez que dans cette théorie-là, quand on a 4 éléments, et c'est une théorie qui est discutable, on a 4 éléments, vous appliquez 3 sur 4, vous comprenez que ça ne passera pas. Et même les 3 que vous appliquez, vous allez appliquer sur les dépenses budgétaires, vous ciblez une fine zone qui ne touche pas à toute la population, et vous dites que non, ça ne passe pas comme ça. Vous voyez quelque chose. Le problème qu'on a qu'on a, c'est que quand il y a confinement, même quand les gens, quand il y a une crise, l'individu a tendance à épargner que de dépenser. L'individu ne dépense que sur les biens de consommation utiles, c'est-à-dire la nourriture. Comme il a dit bien dit, c'est la nourriture. Les gens préfèrent dépenser, ils vont acheter les vivres et vont garder chez eux. Pour ceux qui ont les réfrigérateurs, ils vont acheter des biens qui peuvent être consommés à long terme, garder chez eux. Mais personne ne va aller investir. Bon, c'est une forme de consommation. Hein? C'est une forme de consommation, mais seulement ces produits qu'on achète sont beaucoup plus importés. Donc, quand on paie ces produits, on fait tourner l'économie des pays qui les produisent, notamment la Chine et l'Union européenne. Donc, est-ce que les gens vont acheter le manioc et vont garder chez eux pendant un mois? Je ne pense pas. Donc, les gens vont acheter tout ce qui est importable et ils vont garder chez eux. Ils vont acheter du riz qu'on ne produit pas au Cameroun, même si le nom pour le Cameroun et qu'on ne soupçonne le riz qui est produit en Asie, ils vont garder. Ça affecte la relance économique de l'Asie et non du Cameroun. Donc, le gouvernement pensant donc en activant le volet consommation, en activant le volet relance économique par ce qu'ils ont parlé de TVA, non, ce n'était pas ça, Je ne pense pas que le moment soit propice à la relance économique, parce que l'un des facteurs importants de l'économie, hein, parce que l'économie, en d'autres termes aussi, c'est la gestion des ressources rares. Hein. Et parmi les ressources rares, on parle des capitaux, on parle de la terre, c'est une ressource rare la terre, on parle des matières premières et on parle surtout des ressources humaines, de l'homme, parce que c'est l'homme qui consomme les produits qui sont produits. Donc, le Covid-19 vient dire l'homme est fragile. Donc, l'homme ne peut plus consommer. Donc, je suis resté un peu dans l'aspect un peu purement économique pour dire que le gouvernement qui a fait ça, il devrait comprendre que l'urgence n'est pas sur la relance économique, mais l'urgence est de sauver l'espèce humaine. L'urgence est de soigner les Camerounais. Et s'il faut faire un projet économique, elle devrait être sanitaire, elle devrait être sociale. Parce que, ce qu'on dit aux gens, l'un des rôles impérieux de l'État, c'est la protection sanitaire des citoyens, de l'individu. Et on passe à côté, et vous passez à côté, et vous dites, allez dans les snacks, allez danser. Alors que le Covid-19 entre par la bouche, par le nez, même par les oreilles et les yeux. Quand les gens vont se toucher, quelqu'un va s'essuyer les yeux, il pourra transmettre, et ça va être une escatombe. Donc nous pensons clairement que cette mesure-là a été mal réfléchie et mal. Maintenant, il faut envoyer un message fort aux Camerounais que ce gouvernement n'a rien à foutre de vous. On a un gouvernement égocentrique. Parce que si on pensait un temps soit pour le peuple camerounais, on ne prenait pas telle mesure. Je suis un homme politique. Je le parle en tant qu'homme politique. Il faut que chaque Camerounais se prenne en charge. Chaque Camerounais continue à exécuter les 20 mesures barrières. Chaque Camerounais, avec les propositions des partis politiques, non pas encore un parti comme le MRC et d'autres partis politiques. Donc chaque Camerounais continue à se prendre en charge. Parce que si on veut compter sur la protection gouvernementale, parce qu'apparemment avec Covid-19, on se rend compte que l'intérêt gouvernemental n'est pas l'intérêt public. Mais à présent, nous parlons de l'intérêt public qui est au-dessus de l'intérêt gouvernemental. Donc chaque individu doit prendre ces mesures barrières, doit les respecter afin de se maintenir en santé. Car la somme des mesures individuelles prises va faire l'intérêt public, et c'est ce qui est question aujourd'hui.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Mark. We are looking into these measures, into the 19 support measures given by the government recently. Let's talk about health workers. These people are exposed to, the virus itself. They sacrifice a lot, and so far we've lost some of our health workers in the country. And let me not mention the other parts of the world. Let's talk about the one in Cameroon. But the measures, we've not seen any of the measures where our health workers are protected, or at least given something to fall back on. Are they forgotten? What is the fate? What is up with our health workers?
This actually goes to confirm the fact that the government of Cameroon thinks less of those who are actually working for the progress of the country. Why do I say so? When you get to a war, those that are taking care of our soldiers more, because they are the ones fighting. This is a sanitary war that we are in, and everywhere in the world you see governments are doing everything possible to make sure that they give these medical officials a boost. They make them to feel at home while saving. In Cameroon, it is just outrageous. It is
because we are even
I
at
get
risk.
to feel like the government is heinous. The government hates its own citizens.
No.
I feel like that. It might not be what is there, but I feel like that because look at it. These guys are sacrificing their lives. Most of them have been infected.
Yeah.
And
The possibility of a health worker
Some of them-
contaminating or spreading it to
That is just
people
the
is
issue.
very high.
first, do you know some doctors have already died?
They have.
What did the government do to their families? When soldiers go to the war front and they are killed, what do? They give them state burials and all that. What have they done to these people who fell during this fight? Their wives are there. We don't know if their wives are infected because they were infected. They were struggling to make sure they take care of a patient, and they were infected in return. And as a result of that, the government is supposed to empower them to be able to do their job with all pleasure. When a soldier, I'm calling these medical officials soldiers now because they are the soldiers that are fighting at the front as we are talking right now.
Yeah.
They are the ones fighting at the front. And if they are the ones at the front fighting, it means they are supposed to be well taken care of. So if the government does not care about their well-being, the question I should be asking is, what then do we actually want? Because I can't understand at all why the military in Cameroon is more paid than a doctor who is in the hospital giving his life for the sake of other Cameroonians. If he is giving his life, then there is no reason why they should not be supported. There is no reason why they should not be empowered financially. I think they should have kept something for them. That was supposed to be one of the main measures that the government was supposed to actually take.
Because this is a health crisis,
It
and
is
they
a
are
health
like you
crisis.
said,
The government was supposed to think of not only the fact that they can be infected and then they can be infected and they carry the sickness back to their homes and they get their families infected. They were supposed to also think about their ability. They can be infected and infect even those who
next
come to the
person will come
hospital.
to for
So
checkup.
with all that, how are they struggling to make sure that these guys, their lives are preserved? I don't see that. It is not found in the measures. How much have they been able to release into them? Because I think, let me tell you something. When soldiers are going for a battle, at times, to motivate them to fight without thinking, they pay them, they double their pay. Question: have they even thought of these doctors?
They will do something eventually.
I think somehow the doctors are been taken care of. I should be thinking so, because if in this country some hospitals has been kept aside to receive the COVID-19 patients,
Yeah.
I think those particular hospitals, the doctors there should be treated different, because they are most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I will use this opportunity also to talk to the population out there that it is an Ivorian doctor said, the name just ran off my memory, that those who are carriers of HIV should be very careful, because they are very vulnerable when it comes to COVID-19. And those who have ever had TB should be very careful too. So now, when talking about doctors, I saw the other day the government received 14 cars from World Health Organization. I was hoping to see 14 ambulances that can be distributed to the whole nation, to see into it that if they have an emergency case of COVID-19, it should be rushed to the hospital as soon as possible. But this car is given to who? The health delegates, the delegates of the public health in the center region, the 14 delegates, to do what with it. What about Douala? So we see the government being biased. I don't know if these actions are meant to appreciate or congratulate
some people for work done or what. But all I know is that the government is not doing what it is supposed to do. Now, when you look critically, you realize that the government and the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation, I have been asking myself questions that what has these ministries been doing ever since? Because now COVID-19 came in. What has the ministry proposed as medicine? Because we keep saying that the government should have given food, the government should have added the more measures. What can we put forward that this is Cameroon's support against the fight of COVID-19? Madagascar came out with CVO, COVID Organic. Cameroon, we are more talented and we have all it takes.
We'll handle that a few minutes from now when we dive into the second topic of the day.
Okay, so let me not get into the topic before time. So much is left undone in this country because earlier we were talking about the economy of Cameroon not being well to do. Who is the cause? This COVID-19 just came to expose so many people, and I think it is time the government should sit up after this pandemic.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll take some contributions, and right after that we'll go in for the next topic of the day, talking about Africa and their cure for COVID-19. Is this a radical step or a necessary step for the continent to stand up against the wish and control of the World Health Body, the World Health Organization? This one says, I greet everyone in the House of Commons. My name is Prince Will from Limbe. This period of coronavirus has been difficult for the common man or common person to pay light, water and some basic bills. Why can't the government help the population to cancel some bills? Question we cannot answer. This one says, good afternoon to you all in the studio. I am Sonny from Boya. The government measures will impact the population negatively because as the number of coronavirus cases keeps increasing in the country, the government is supposed to tighten the measures, but instead they are relieving the measures, so we don't know whether the government wants people to suffer or to save their lives. Okay. And this other one says, the measures taken by the government is not a relief measure, but rather a destructive measure. Okay, thank you very much. It's like Cameroonians have all signed a contract to perish. We all know our government and know that coronavirus is rising. So if government asks you to walk across the sea and you accept, then it is your problem and that of your family to mourn. The government cannot suspend all national events because big officials don't want to sit together but allow citizens to drink and travel together. Shine your eyes. Jean from Boya. Thank you very much, Jean. Good afternoon to you all in the studio. We all have to know that the government of this country has nothing good for its population when a country is being ruled by, from working. And thank you very much. We have seen your message. You can actually pass your message through without insulting or cursing. You can do that, still pouring out your anger and your plight. Good afternoon to you guys on the panel. Cameroon government is missing taxation. Can you imagine with outbreak of COVID-19, which has led the economy to slow down? Boya Council still goes around asking business people to pay hygiene and sanitation tax. Shortly after this, it was declared after the national station. Okay, this is a clear indication that the Cameroon government is after her own interests and not that of the citizens. Maurice writing from Clark's quarters in Boya. Thank you very much for all your contributions. I will move over to the second topic of the day. Africans take the lead for COVID-19 cure. Is it a radical or a necessary step? We're taking the case study of Madagascar and our own Bishop Samuel Kleda of Cameroon and our traditionalist Dr. Richard Fru. So I'm turning over to you to start for the day. I understand you're a Pan-Africanist, and is this a necessary or a radical step?
Oh my God, I will say this is the best step that has ever happened in Africa since.
You don't see anything wrong with
there
Africa
is no
shunning?
radicality in it,
Okay.
because in the first place, before the white man came with medicine in Africa, Africans were actually taking care of sicknesses.
Okay.
The people were sick and they were being cured in Africa. And to not say it is just the best thing, I will tell you this. Man is created to actually live in collaboration with nature. Africans love nature. And it becomes difficult when you separate a man from the surrounding. The white man has actually introduced us into very deadly methods which we have fallen in love with. They take, I don't know what they use, synthetic whatsoever, put together and bring it as drugs which have side effects. And you people collect them, you drink them, and you are affected. They bring whatsoever called vaccines and give them, which have side effects. I've seen vaccines that have been given to children, they have been paralyzed. The question is, why should they do that? They have their reasons. But when you come back to Africa, they discourage Africans to actually believe in what Africa can give. Africa has all the herbs it takes to heal any kind of disease that exists on earth. And if Madagascar, for example, in this particular period, a young doctor came up with research and actually saw some herbs that could actually cure this COVID-19 or Wuhan virus, because they are afraid to call it Wuhan. I'm giving it COVID because they don't want us to know it's from China. So with that particular mindset, when an African understands the importance of the herbs behind his house, you will not waste a lot of money waiting for somebody to come and solve a problem that you could handle by just getting behind your house. You see, it will help Africa to be relieved. I don't know why at this particular moment Africans are not thinking of creating an African health organization that permits them to think and actually bring solutions to health problems in Africa, not depending on World Health Organization, which is actually run by individuals and some demonic-led persons. No. Please, I'm not using this word because I just want to use them. Let me be sincere with what I'm saying. If you look at what is happening today, if World Health Organization has not supported what is happening in Africa right now, in Madagascar, it's because they have an interest behind. They have an interest.
A hidden agenda.
A hidden agenda. They don't actually want to support it. And look at it. Even our own nation, Cameroon, have not been able to say anything concerning our Cleda, the Archbishop, an Archbishop who has been researching on herbs for 30 years, comes up with a solution and tells you people it is working. And what happens is this: those who had been healed using his drug, those are medical doctors. Most of those who have been healed, who were infected by this particular the COVID-19, were doctors. And if these doctors could bring up their testimonies, I believe the government was not just supposed to come and say, okay, I'm going to send persons to meet the Cleda so that they can find. No, that's not what we need at this moment. What we need at this moment is for the governments of African nations to actually rise up and support the initiative that Africans are actually bringing right now to deal with this problem. We will not wait for somebody who created a problem to come and solve the problem for us. If we have the solutions, then we should start solving them and stop waiting for them. Because if you wait for them, at the end of the day, Africans will die. Just imagine that Bill Gates, according to his prediction, told you people that millions of Africans will be
an African.
Millions. So he told you people because you people believe in them.
Okay.
You people will be infected, and most people were threatened. Thank God that a solution like this is coming to make them realize that Africa can actually solve their problems.
Thank God for social media.
It is very important.
Social media.
It's the same social media that misleads a lot of people. I'll come back to you, Mr. Alexa. Do you think this is a necessary or a radical step?
Vous savez, il faudrait d'abord reconnaître que toute mesure, toute chose, toute initiative qui permet ou qui permettra de sauver des vies sont la bienvenue.
Oui?
Parce qu'ici, on parle de la race humaine, on parle de l'être humain. Et quand on parle d'être humain, qu'on soit noir, blanc, qu'on soit africain, européen et qu'on soit asiatique, nous sommes tous des humains, nous avons le même système ADN en nous. Il est important que la race humaine puisse être préservée et que les mesures peuvent venir de plusieurs pôles. C'est-à-dire, on a la science conventionnelle, hein, la recherche conventionnelle scientifique que tout le monde connaît, qui est malgré par l'OMS, qui est là, dont la médecine moderne, qu'on va dire, la médecine moderne utilise, qui est là, qui permet de résoudre un certain nombre de problèmes. C'est une bonne chose. Mais au-delà de ça, il est souvent important que l'on revienne à l'état naturel des choses. Parce que, comme on l'a dit, vous savez, même dans la Sainte Bible, il est écrit qu'il y a des personnes qui ont vécu pendant plus de 250 ans. 9
000 ans.
Non, j'arrive, je ne vais pas... nous avons des parents, nous avons nos parents, des parents qui ont vécu plus de 100 ans, oui, mais sans une certaine médecine moderne, mais qui se sont servis de la nature pour vivre cela. Et il faut reconnaître que toute recherche scientifique, dans la médecine moderne, comme ça, n'est valable que si elle est expliquée par des lois naturelles de la médecine. C'est-à-dire que vous ne pouvez pas créer un médicament et ne pas pouvoir donner sa source, sa provenance doit être une plante naturelle.
C'est le même principe.
Donc c'est le même principe, comme le professeur dit tantôt. On comprend aussi que les chercheurs africains souffrent de la non-reconnaissance. Hein. Les pharmacopies, par exemple, ils souffrent parce que tout a été normalisé et ils n'ont pas assez de secours de leur État, n'ont pas de financement, parce que quand vous faites une recherche scientifique, parce que c'est juste la science, hein, c'est juste la science, il faut publier dans des revues spécialisées afin que vos recherches puissent être connues de vos pairs et qu'on puisse normaliser vos recherches. Malheureusement, dans la pharmacopie, ce n'est pas le cas. Le ministère de la Recherche scientifique qui regroupe tous ces gens-là n'investit pas sur eux. C'est un endroit où les gens vont s'asseoir et voilà. Donc, il est déjà intéressant qu'à partir des plans naturels, Madagascar a mis sur pied ce médicament. Nous avons aussi la recherche camerounaise avec le prélat qui est au niveau de Douala, qui a aussi mis sur pied un médicament qui apparemment marche. Nous sommes déjà contents que le ministre de la Santé ait déjà eu aller vers lui et qu'ils sont en train de mettre sur pied un protocole afin de voir comment faire pour l'expérimenter en grande masse. C'est une bonne chose, mais il est urgent. Tout à l'heure, quand en début d'émission, j'ai dit que le gouvernement surfe sur une fausse sécurité. Il clame parce qu'il surfe sur ça en fait. Le gouvernement utilise la pharmacopie, mais sans toutefois l'admettre. C'est-à-dire, Alex Guépi, quand il se lève pour venir ici après un petit vie ailleurs, Alex Guépi sait que naturellement, il a son Kenkebar, il a son aloe vera qu'il prend, il a sa fusion de gingembre et de l'ail qu'il prend. Et quand il prend ça, il sait très bien que ce sont des antibiotiques. Hein? Et quand il prend, il est clean parce qu'il y a ce qu'on appelle aussi l'effet placebo, c'est-à-dire que vous prenez un médicament, même si ça ne va pas soigner la maladie, mais le fait que vous croyez que cela doit soigner la maladie, ça l'effet placebo. Alors forcément, vos anticorps vont s'activer et pourront soigner la maladie. Donc quand je le prends, je suis tranquille, j'ai pas de souci. Maintenant, est-ce que c'est normalisé? Nous ne savons pas. Donc, il est urgent que les Africains arrêtent de croire que tout viendra de l'Occident. Il est plus urgent que les pharmacopiens africains et qu'on valorise la recherche africaine. Il est urgent que le public africain, que ceux qui se disent être panafricanistes commencent à mettre un peu de leur dans la recherche africaine. Et il serait important que l'État camerounais, l'autre gouvernement camerounais, passe la commande de ce médicament au niveau de Madagascar. Il serait important également qu'ils accompagnent réellement le prélat camerounais dans ce qui a été découvert. En plus de cela, on a d'autres chercheurs dans la pharmacopée camerounaise. C'est l'occasion pour l'État du Cameroun de voir les tares qu'ils ont accumulés et de véritablement financer la recherche, et surtout la recherche au niveau de la pharmacopée. Ces pharmacopiens souffrent, ils ne vivent pas du fruit de leur recherche. Je vais vous dire, il y a des maladies que seule la pharmacopée soigne. Il y a des maladies que seule la pharmacopée... Je me rappelle encore d'un reportage que je suis dans une chaîne concurrente. Il y a une maladie, on appelle ça quoi, du sang, là, hein, que vous avez peu de globules rouges, ça s'appelle... non, c'est un peu comme ça, hein, que le monsieur a clairement, il est passé même dans une concurrente. J'ai suivi vendredi, matin dans une hémorroïde même. Hein, que le monsieur a clairement dit qu'il soignait, et qu'il a rencontré le premier ministre. Mais le problème c'est quoi? On doit comprendre que les grandes industries pharmaceutiques ont des milliards de dollars à gagner. Donc, ils n'ont pas intérêt que la recherche vienne de la nature et qu'elle soit mise à la disposition du public à vil prix. Parce que l'Africain qui fait la recherche veut aider le peuple africain, veut aider la race humaine. Mais ceux-là qui font la recherche veulent surtout s'enrichir. Donc, c'est un problème de stratégie économique mondiale. Et nous voulons vraiment que l'État africain nous comprenne.
That's
et qu'il y ait
entirely
une
what you
solidarité
think.
Dessus.
That's what you think. Okay, Mr. Jones, when the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global pandemic, it was okay for Africans to buy that. The World Health Organization has been so much into some African affairs and been at the forefront of giving information and even the measures given to tackle the COVID-19.